Good morning, guys. It is Thursday, April 4th, 2024. This Bathrobe Business. I'm Georgi Oganov. I got my coffee and I got the news. First story of the day I'm going to report is gold, my favorite subject. So gold has peaked above 2,300. Shocking. Nobody seems to care about it, but this is a big deal, as I always say. I'm just going to keep watching the number and keep hounding the fact that gold shouldn't be this high. It's not a good sign for the economy. You guys do with it what you will. So I'm just going to mention that, and then I'm going to move on. For some reason, nobody likes gold. Whenever I bring up gold, nobody seems to care. So I'm going to talk about cars again real quick. So we talked about cars yesterday. Car sales were up pretty much virtually at every company yesterday, with the exception of GM, which technically on their retail side, its sales were up as well. It's really on their fleet side where they suffered. And of course, most notably Tesla. Tesla is not doing well. Shares of Volvo are up 6%. This is mostly a European number, so I'm not going to cover it too much. And also a couple other things to report on cars is Ford is not going to be doing an all-electric. So they are shifting their production line from all-electric to hybrids. They are still going to have the F-150 Lightning because that's a top seller for them. But as far as the rest of their lineup, and I'm sure the Mach-E as well, but the rest of their lineup, they're going into hybrids. And as I understand it, long-range hybrids. So this isn't your dad's hybrid. This is the hybrid where it's mostly an all-electric car, but then it has gas for, as an emergency contingency, essentially. Also, in other news, China's BYD is launching their first pickup truck in a direct opposition to both Ford and Tesla. Again, BYD has not made its way into the United States yet, but I think that move is imminent. It's going to happen one way or another. And then finally with cars, Tesla is planning to build a new facility in India for roughly around $3 billion. Now, this is just preliminary. They have not actually made any commitments to build yet. They are currently scouting locations for a potential factory in India, but that's yet to be seen of when or if that will happen. So some good news with the United States and manufacturing. So SK Hynix, I believe is how you say it. So I've not heard of this company, but this is one of the chip manufacturers that builds chips for the GPUs of NVIDIA. So this is one of the integral parts that go into NVIDIA GPUs that do AI. So they are planning to build a facility here in the United States, specifically in Indiana. So this is in reference with the CHIP Act. So they are getting funding from the act to build a potential $3.87 billion facility in Indiana. It is not set to open until 2028, but still it's a major development. We reported on major chip development happening in the U.S. now with Texas Instruments here in Utah, as well as TSMC's facility in Arizona, and I believe there's been a couple others as well. So now this is just another one that is coming to the United States. Next story I'm going to cover. I'm kind of hitting them rapid fire because I feel like all these stories are important, but I don't feel like any one of them really gets me all going all that much. But I think they're all important to mention, so I'm kind of just hitting them rapid fire with very little input. Next story I am passionate about. Federal Reserve and interest rates. Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic, who is a voting member of the committee that sets interest rates, is saying that a best case scenario we'll see one rate cut this year and probably in the fourth quarter. I think that's a reasonable measure. I think we don't know what's going to happen in the fourth quarter yet. There's still a long way to go until then, but I think that's a more reasoned and proper approach, and I think that's probably what we're going to end up seeing. If you watch this channel regularly, I've said from day one, I don't think we're getting any rate cuts this year. And I did actually, when I said that, said maybe in the third and fourth quarter because I can't see that far out. But given current data, I don't see how we'll get a cut in Q1 or Q2. And so far, I've been right. We have not seen a cut in Q1. So far, Q2 has just started, but that means we would be getting a cut sometimes here, April, May, or June. I still don't see that happening because inflation would seriously have to fall to 2%. Because even though PCE is at 2.8, we're still waiting on core PCI. And then even if that does, PCE does fall to 2%, the Fed would still give it a month or two to see if those numbers stick. So I just don't think the timeline is there yet for cutting in Q2 because we're still at 2.8%. And that's even the Fed's favorite number, the PCE number, is still at 2.8. So it's almost a full percentage higher on inflation than it should be. So I don't think it's happening in Q2 at all. Finally, last thing I'm going to talk about is yesterday I reported about jobs beating ADP estimates. Yesterday was just the ADP number. Tomorrow we're going to get the Labor Department number. But the ADP number did come in above estimates. However, layoffs have increased a bit. They're in fact at a 14-month high. So the highest we've seen since January of 2023. That number doesn't concern me too much simply because even at that time, at the layoff peak of 2023, we were still seeing 3.7% unemployment. So roughly, I believe that's roughly where it was. So I'm not too concerned about that because I still think hiring is outpacing firing. And there's still more openings than positions. There's still more job positions available than hiring that's happening. So I'm not too concerned about that number, but I thought I would just throw it out there for you just to know. That's pretty much it. That's all I kind of have to talk about today. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because, like I said, I don't feel too passionately about any of these stories, but I think they're all important. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. I hope you have a productive day, and I'll see you in the morning.